Welcome to another episode of Between the Trees. It's New York State Championships, round 9. It's a new one, the Punisher. We are in southern New York. It's an absolutely gorgeous day for racing. The dirt bikes are getting underway behind me. I didn't look up the points, where they stand for the 4x4 class, but we've got Rich Strave out front, and he won the last race. So expect him to do well at this one because he's got some momentum on his side. Chilly air today, 57 degrees, no sun. Hopefully it keeps the dust down, but everybody's already telling me a lot about the mud. It's time for another Between the Trees show. And first up for the 4x4 class is Kyle Lawrence, number 1020 out of Rushville, New York. He's 49 years old, and his fun fact is he hates fun facts. Colton Harkness, 1031 out of Gillette, Pennsylvania, is 32 years old. He puts mustard on his ice cream. That sounds disgusting. Drew Campbell, 1015 out of Jordan, New York. I'm 43 years old. My fun fact is I make up fun facts. Clever. Dan Guns Honacki, number 1017 out of Gowanda, New York. He's age 39 and he works out in spandex shorts. I'm glad we don't work out together. No one wants to see that. Guns. Jesse Madison, number 1027 out of Beaver Dams, New York. His fun fact is he has a fear of frogs. That one's odd, of all things to be afraid of. Rich Strave, number 1021 out of Rushville, New York. That's not where he lives, but Rich Strave is 117 years old and he once beat up Chuck Norris. Dustin Carnes, 1075 out of Odessa, New York. He's 48 years old, and he owns a tree nursery, which makes sense because he's always killing them. Justin Mills, 1043 out of Boston, New York. He is age 43, and his favorite racer is Hunter Hart, and that's not by chance because Justin joins me on headset today. Thanks for coming into the studio, buddy.
Drew, thanks for having me, man.
Glad to have you, and you are part of our giveaway. You put up $100, and Hunter from QUADTECH put up $100. So we are going to give away $200 in this show. And what's the name of your business? HERC?
HERC Contracting.
HERC Contracting. You've got a couple of offshoot companies off of that?
We do. Elevation Homes is one of them, but it is HERC Contracting and HERC Home Remodeling.
Awesome. Well, thank you for putting up some money to give away to the race community. I'm sure my viewers appreciate it, and I know the winner is really going to appreciate having a couple extra $100 in their pocket. Let's get started. We had Jacob Carnes on the side of the track getting us this shot. It was a muddy start, but you had the clean line right to the hole.
It was a good start for at least that part of the race.
And I say hole because after we see your shot here, we literally jumped right down into a mud hole after that first hay bale.
Absolutely.
It was a slot fest for this race. As you guys can see, we start out clean. We don't finish it that way. There's your hole shot. Justin did get that. He was followed by Rich Strave, Dan Honacki. Dustin was in third, followed by Dan, and then myself. Jumping to the back of the pack here, Jesse Madison picking up 7th there, and Kyle Lawrence is in 8th place, and he is riding something unique for this race. It's a Yamaha Warrior. Is it Wolverine or no? It's a Wolverine.
It is a Wolverine.
A Wolverine 450 4x4. It's his wife's quad. So if you watch the show at Twisted Fence, he had some bad luck, clocked a tree, and actually bent his frame, which totals the quad. Once you have a kinked upper frame rail, it's over. You're not getting the steer right, the lineup, anything.
Yeah, no, he mentioned that it's definitely a new frame.
Yeah, so he has one on order. He's going to have to do a full rebuild. He's hoping to do that by round 10, but here at round 9, he was forced to race a 450 against some big V twins. And you can hear the clear difference too.
Absolutely.
Like his little quad is like me. Just plugging along. But here, catching back up with race action, you were out front leading Rich Drave into one of our first few field sections. There weren't many at this track.
No, there weren't. This was a bigger field section, though, with some S's that got straightened out a little towards the end.
Towards the end? You mean halfway through? People were just, yeah. And I do show that later in the show. A lot of ribbons got torn down at this track. It was just a slot fest. And I can't blame people for trying to go a faster line or trying to cheat. I think it was just missing corners and taking down ribbons.
Straightest, fastest route.
Yeah. And you mentioned before the show you had problems steering because of suspension setup, but you made some changes. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I did make some changes. I took the rear end and brought it up about 1/4 of an inch.
So you lifted your rear end?
I did. I didn't have any more adjustment in the front to drop it. And my buddy Willis happened to give me that tip. So definitely thanks to Willis, because he appreciated the help and the expertise, and it definitely helped me steer a lot better in this on this race.
Well, this is probably the best race I've seen you do all year. It's a pity it took you 9 to do it, but you finally got there and you really showed your speed today in this one. We see you drop back to second because Rich Drave should be tested for steroids and I want his motor torn down. But beside that, you ran a great race. Rich just got by you there and he's gone. He leaves the rest of us in his dust.
Yeah, he definitely did take off, and kudos to Rich. He definitely tears it up.
Yeah, but you did have a great race. You're in second here and you battle up there for a little bit before having some bad luck, which got you thousands of views on social media today. We'll talk about that when the time comes in the race. Here we are with Kyle Lawrence. I cut to him, and every time I do, you're gonna see the man look back. He is constantly riding over his shoulder because he knows he's on such a slow four-wheeler. So you can see some of the women's class already working their way by.
Mad props for being out there with that thing.
Hey, it's all about salvaging points and making it to the championship banquet in January. And for me personally, if I'm gonna compete in the championship, I wanna be there all year long and I wanna do the best I can, because when we're up on stage, we hold a trophy with a big number on it and I wanna get the lowest number I can. I think we all do. Kyle's one of those guys and he's had some tough goes of it. He's got me thousands of views, like I said, on social media with his incidents that he's had throughout the season, but he's a trooper, hanging on to that 450, running it as hard as he can. I don't know if his wife wants to see this video. Colton, bushwhacking. That was
It was a good move.
Good move, but I don't know if that was over 25 feet because I couldn't really see. And so I'm like, all right, Colton, you want to play that game? So I'm gonna try a line up here where I'm like, all right, well, if Colton's gonna start straightening out the track, maybe I'll start straightening out the track too. Well, I quickly realized you're gonna hurt yourself, you're gonna fuck the quad up, you're gonna do something, maybe don't do that route. And here you can see Guns and Dustin go left, there's orange arrows over there, Colton goes right, I follow. Colton makes the pass,
wow.
As do I immediately let Dustin go by. I realized that I was way off 25 feet from those arrows. I'm not calling out Colton, but I think we both went way too far inside, okay? I made a pass. I did not feel that was the right thing to do, so I immediately waved Dustin back by.
That was the gentleman thing to do.
Well, I try to be a fair racer, and you know why? We're in a GoPro. I can't get away with anything.
Yeah, our stuff is videotaped, so
yeah.
You can kind of see what happens.
And all you guys, thanks for wearing your cameras for me to play with the footage, because you guys have been giving me gold all summer with your antics.
Well, I hope I did a lot better wiping the camera this time around. This was the first time using a face mounted on the helmet itself.
The chin mount, yep.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that later, buddy, because there's some issues.
Still not that good, huh?
You know what, at a mud race, who's going to be perfect? Not even yours truly. I had to do a bunch of wiping too, but I took notes when we did lose vision on cameras. Guns, his rear view is done by 25 minutes on lap 1.
Wow.
It was pointing down and covered in mud. My rear view was done close to the end of lap 1. I kept it up for a few shots because you and I were battling, but I had big mud gloves on it. Dustin, his front one, done at the end of lap 1, which he calls it after a lap. So there's a bunch of issues with the GoPros and mud, but for the most part, we all did well. I mean, if we did have mud on the lens, we were wiping it within a few minutes.
Well, I took your advice. When you do clean on the goggle,
yep.
Hit the GoPro at the same time.
That is the best time to do it. It's one hand motion, so you're not separating your hand from the grip multiple times.
You're not supposed to use 2 hands.
No, not 2 hands at the same time.
Damn.
Gotta hang on to that piece, buddy.
It's a true story. Well, we'll see that coming up here soon.
Yeah. This section was like back, forth. Crazy. And you can see, I believe that's Riley Gerges from the women's class working her way through. And I want you to note the kit. Dark blue with a purple number plate.
I saw her a couple times.
And I don't know why. I don't know where we keep passing her, but we all passed her a bunch of times.
And then caught back up, and then she
Correct.
would pass.
And she would pass us back.
We were definitely battling with her during this race.
Yeah, on camera, I can never really see. I didn't really look too hard. I'm focused on the 4x4 guys. But she must have had issues where we just kept passing each other back.
She got hung up a couple times, and then just where the two-wheel drive guys got bottlenecked, didn't help her.
Yeah, and there was a couple of sketchy ones there. You're going to see Justin here on lap 1 deal with probably the worst bottleneck we faced in this race. Sometimes you got to make your own path, and sometimes it works, and
sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, you got so much shit talk online for that one, buddy. First question, and somebody actually wanted me to ask you this. What were you thinking?
I really thought we could get through it and the tree would break, but that clearly did not happen.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for that part to come up. We'll analyze it as it does. But right now we've got Gunn sitting in 4th. You're in 2nd, correct?
I do believe you.
And I think we got Colton sandwiched between you. Fortunately, Colton up there, you can see the taillights. He's very nice running those taillights for us, so it's easy to spot him. We got Dustin in 5th, and I believe I'm in 6th, Madison 7th, and Kyle Lawrence rounding out your top 8 4x4 guys for this class. At the beginning of the show, we talked about a $200 giveaway, and everybody's probably looking for those little photos I put up on the screen, right? Guess what? You're not going to see them. This giveaway is different, and if you keep listening, I'm going to tell you how it works, but you're going to have to listen. Don't look for something on the screen. It's not coming. There's no photo quizzes in this episode. I'm going to tell you verbally soon in the show. Just stay tuned.
Always making it interesting.
I've got to be a creative influencer, YouTuber, whatever you want to refer to us, video nerds. I got to be creative with these giveaways.
Got to keep it fresh.
I got to keep it fresh, and I want to keep it fair. So I will give you one clue. The giveaway isn't going to be decided first come, first serve. We're going to give everybody a full week to participate in the giveaway, and we'll do a drawing next week.
Wow.
So 7 days after this show airs, next Thursday night, we'll have a drawing live on YouTube to determine the winner.
That's a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to give more people the opportunity. I realize that all season long, we've been airing the show at 7 p.m. on Thursdays, and not everybody can watch at that time. So if you can't watch at that time, how are you supposed to win and be the first one to answer?
That's a good point.
So we're just going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to give everybody a week to watch the video and put in their 2 cents and enter the competition for $200.
Almost hitting the 10-minute mark in the first lap.
Yeah, and still all moving right at a good clip with each other, nose to tail. On most cameras, we can see each other except for that guy on steroids out front. I gotta say, for 117 years old, he looks pretty good.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a lick of hair on his head, but I'm not gonna judge him for that because he can ride a 4-wheeler fast.
Is that what steroids do?
I've heard. I've never taken them, hence the beer gut and the saggy arms. But yeah, Dustin Carn sitting 5th here. He's got a good pace going. He told us he has some issues with his steering. Did you hear about this?
I did. He said something about smirmadilla having an issue with
What'd you call it?
Smirmadilla?
Smirmadilla?
Is it smirmadilla?
That's if you're drunk.
Oh,
and
then
you're smearing your words. It's Smyrna.
Smyrna.
With an N. And it's after the name of the town.
Gotcha.
Which is located near the Unadilla motocross track.
He said he ran into complications on that track, and that's what caused his steering to be a little bit off, and the front bumper not quite bolting up correctly.
By complications, you mean stuffing it into a tree at 20 and tumbling 15 feet down a hill?
I was being completely nice about the situation, and
You're
yes.
a very nice guy, Justin. Yes, he had complications at Smirnadilla, and what happened was something affected his steering box. Now, on the Can-Am Renegades and Outlanders, you need a software program called Buds, which we plug into the 4-wheeler, and we can control certain aspects of the machine, one of them being steering, and you can actually calibrate your steering for a centered rest position where it won't pull it one way or the other. His steering box got uncalibrated, and it pulls hard to the right. So if he were to just let go of the bars, it would steer hard right. So if you could imagine trying to race it that way, it'd be very tiring.
You're already trying to battle a bull, and then this thing's
Yeah.
pulling you that way all the time, so it's just going to be a struggle.
Yeah, so give Dustin, I hate the fact that you guys are Justin. Give Carnes a lot of credit for going out and trying and running a great pace. Lap 1, he was right there with us.
He was still ripping.
He came through the checkpoint on lap 1 just ahead of you. We see on his rear view, you're right on his bumper coming through, and he ducks under the yellow and calls it a day. And I don't blame him. He's put a lot of money and time into that quad this year. He's had some accidents with it. He's probably fed up of doing it. So he didn't feel safe. He just called it. Nothing wrong with that. Late in the season, he's pretty secured in the points in top 5. I think he'll finish top 5 in the championship if he just rides out this last race fairly well.
He put in the time, and if he felt like it was time to get off the machine just for safety concerns, then good move.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your machine. You said it's a 22, and you've had some stuff done to it.
Yeah, it's a 22. We do have it clutched by STI. We've also had B&R do the computer flash. We're running, let's see here, not tire balls. We are running the foam inserts, which are splines now.
Those are the pricey ones.
Yeah, well, we ran into some tire issues the first half of the season, so.
Did you put your own splines in?
We did. That was an interesting afternoon.
It takes forever, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and they aren't cheap. There are cheaper alternatives out there. For the listeners that don't know, we do try to use tire flat prevention systems, meaning if we were to puncture on a rock or a stick, that we don't completely go flat and touch the ground. So what Justin has in his machine is almost like a foam block that wraps around like a donut. Look at that line, just bushwhacking, buddy.
Get around it.
Good thing you got a stout bumper up there. And what that does is if you lose air pressure, that foam block will fill in that void, and it doesn't run. Actually, Guns has run 0 air pressure in his tire splines, but we're gonna check out this bottleneck.
Oh, God.
This is why everybody wants to know, what are you thinking?
Just go straight.
Sure. Oh. I like how it's slow motion coming off the machine. And you give it a big old, ooh. And then we're like, okay, well, I'm not going to follow him that way.
Don't go that way.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the big question. What were you thinking on that one, buddy?
I was really hoping I'd run over the tree, but.
And it would break free?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that one was set out as the chorus workers to try to divert people cutting that corner. And
it worked.
It worked, yep. You didn't make it?
No.
So when you remounted, I jumped back into race action here, but when you remounted, what'd you do? Reverse out of there?
I kept going straight.
It was already under.
Under me, so I climbed under the
You
tree.
ducked under the tree, got
back on the machine. And, yeah.
And the only real damage was I noticed your GoPro mount came off.
And my pride.
Oh, your pride fell off too.
Yeah, I fell off with it.
That sucks.
I left it there.
If you ever find mine, let me know. I have none left. I do YouTube videos for fun, man. If you're going to put yourself out there, you can't have any pride. Race action. I moved up to 5th because of your blunder. Thanks.
No problem.
Put you back to 6th. Madison's still sitting in 7th, and Kyle bringing up the back of the pack on that.
Oh, Kyle's
awesome. 450.
Kyle's on the 450. That's
just,
right.
What's that whole phrase? The turtle and the hare, and I don't know the phrase. I feel like Joe Biden right now, but Kyle is definitely slow and steady, and
slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Sure.
Okay.
Thanks. He does just that, slow and steady. But I've got some blunders of his in here. It's just, we're gonna try not to laugh at you too hard, Kyle. Welcome back to the race action. We're on board with guns, following Colton through one of our short field sections. Again, there weren't many of them. There was one with that high-speed dip coming up.
That launch.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Definitely got some air on that.
Yeah, but I want to talk to you real quick about your business here. You're sponsoring this race. Again, we thank you, but tell us a little bit about HERC and what you guys do.
So HERC Contracting is a general contracting company that we do basically any home repairs from anything small to doing decks all the way up to roofs, additions, and then we have a division that does custom home new builds.
Nice. And you participate in these builds yourself?
I do.
So you got that cool tool belt like Tim Toolman
Yeah,
Taylor?
Bob Vila style.
Bob Vila style. Man, we're old. This old house with Justin and Drew.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's awesome. Well, you and I have been talking, and I've hinted in the past few shows that we're going to move this show to the front row next year. And I was looking for somebody to step up and help with the purchase of camera equipment and some cards and mounts and just be a title sponsor, if you will, for the show. And you think HERC would be interested?
I totally think we'd be interested.
That would be amazing. So if you guys know anybody else that wants to be a show sponsor, I'm going to do the same thing next year where each show has an individual sponsor where you can give away some money back to the race community. Hopefully it goes to an actual racer who needs it for their machine to keep going. That's always my goal because this isn't a cheap sport. And
I have a couple vendors in mind that I'm going to put it in front of.
that might be interested in show by show basis, yeah?
Yeah, so I think we can definitely put something together, even if they want to partner with me. And there's some of the people that supply me with the stuff that we use on a daily basis. So if my name's out there, they're probably going to want their name as well.
That's awesome. And where are you based at? Here's that jump. Hang on real quick.
Yeah,
Let's listen to guns.
Beautiful
Woo!
thing. Beautiful thing.
What gets me is the sick bastard wipes his camera at full throttle, 60 miles an hour, going up the face of it. I'm like, guns, both hands on the wheel. Okay, where are you guys based out of? You're here in New York, right?
Yeah, so we're Western New York, South Buffalo. Springville would be one of the bigger towns, but we do basically everything like Orchard Park, where Rich Stadium's based, all the way down to Elkville, which is one of our bigger resort towns where the ski resorts and whatnot are.
Sure.
So that's really where our demographic is. Yeah.
Elkville.
Yeah, so.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely interested in getting something worked out with you as the title sponsor. We'll call it HERC Contracting, Between the Trees, whatever we got to do to help promote you. And you can't have your phone on, buddy, during the show, rookie. But we'll do whatever we can to promote you and your business because you are giving back to the race community, and that's what we like to see. And I'm especially excited because you are a local business willing to do that for other New York racers. It's just a win-win all around. So, yeah, we're going to figure something out. I've got 3 guys. I'm not going to mention any names yet, but we've got 3 guys on the front row willing to wear the cameras. And they're actually not going to be wearing them. I think next year, to simplify it, we'll bolt one to the front fender, one to the rear fender of each guy. And then they don't really have to worry about it on their helmet. I know a lot of the pros and the fast guys, they don't really like a camera on their helmet. I could never put one on Hunter. He wouldn't wear it. I could never put one on Boric when I hung out with him. He would never wear it. They just don't like seeing it in front of their face, I think.
Something else messing with them.
Yeah, and you gotta realize their reaction time is so much faster than ours. Maybe it's a distraction for them.
I don't know if it was the helmet, the GoPro, or just the amount of mud. But by the time we were done with this one, the helmet was definitely heavier.
The mud. On mudders, it always pulls it over your eyes. I wore a different brand before I got my deal with FXR, and that helmet was always pulling over my eyes. And actually my FXR did too, but I solved that problem by going a size smaller with cheek pads. The cheek pads hold it up a little bit better when the mud hits it, so I don't...
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't have it dipping down as much. Kyle and Heath. Gotta listen to this. Just listen to this kitty sing. Wofo. Oh, if his wife ever sees this, that's her four-wheeler, people. So he literally took his wife's four-wheeler out of the garage. It's a stock Wolverine
450
single
cylinder.
Yeah, gutless. I mean, I think he does like 45, 50 on it maybe, but
35 horsepower.
oh, if that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, good on you, Kyle, for running that thing, salvaging some points. And if we look here, he actually got 7th. He didn't get last. We had 8 in class.
Got to give him that.
He didn't get last. And I'm showing everybody's cameras right now because
mud problems.
We are human. We do forget to wipe. This is an issue. That was Guns' rear view. That was the last you'll see of it. I was showing that because it tilted down. And we'll have that sometimes, which I've never had that with yours. You must do...
get the wrench on it.
Yeah, I put a screwdriver to mine to get it really tight. Because those hard ass end hits we get, yeah, they'll knock the camera down. And
jar it loose.
You're filming your bumper the entire time. And on that note, Jesse Madison is in this with a camera. And I'm sure he was pretty excited to be part of the show. We're excited to have him back in the class. Jesse wore a chest mount. And unfortunately, when a rider is wearing a chest mount and they're standing up to race, you're filming the handlebars in the front of the machine the entire time. So at the start of the show, you do see a couple of clips of Jesse, but it's all his front fenders, and you can't even see the horizon, what's coming up on the track in front of him.
It's a tough angle.
Yeah, so I told him about it. I was like, you know what, you can try it. The chest mount will work on certain body positions when you're sitting, but Jesse stood for most of the first lap and then got the camera dirty and didn't wipe it. So we didn't really have much footage from Jesse to work with. I think if he switches to that helmet mount for this last round, we can give him some more air time, if you will, in the show. Because he's back racing. He was out with an injury and we're glad to have him back. I do want to show his talents on the track. Just that camera angle wasn't the best one to work with. Kyle just ripping that 450 through the tight stuff. Send it, buddy. Looking back with Dustin Carnes, about 23 minutes into lap 1 here. And our lap times weren't horrible, but they weren't even close to Rich Drave. So Rich actually beat us all on lap 1, less than 36 minutes for him. And Guns had the second best with 36:58. He was actually a full minute slower than Rich Drave on lap 1. And it just got worse from there. By the end of this race, there was 27 minutes separating first through fourth.
Wow.
Yeah. And guess who fourth place was? Jesse Madison.
Pulled off a fourth.
Right? Coming back from a broken pelvis, wearing a stupid chest mount.
Hey man, props to that guy for finishing and just
rides up to a fourth. That's great. Congrats on that. That's
definitely nice move, Jesse.
That was definitely his best finish of the year. It may be his best finish in 4x4. I don't know if he quite got into the top 5 last year, but real happy for him. Good job, Jesse. And man, just look at the roughness of this track.
Look at this guy tearing it up.
Yeah, old Silver Fox there. I do like, we talked about this, I do like these mudders because it does tend to smooth out some of those hard, sharp hits that we talked about, where it'll kick the ass end up, it'll hit the front end so hard, it transitions through the handlebars and just zaps your energy just a little bit. These mud races, everything tends to get sloppy and smoothed out so you don't have those jarring hits, but you're losing energy battling other issues, right?
Going through the mud, going through water holes.
Cleaning out my vagina. Stopping for a beer. I would never again. No, it's a fun time in the mud. The most difficult thing I had with this one was my vision. And it wasn't even the mud on my goggles. It was the condensation or the fogging up of my goggles because I was running hotter than the air temperature. So I had an issue with that. I had a lot of fog in my goggles.
That younger kid, I've raced him quite a bit this year.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a rear number plate, which any NYOA people watching, they asked us to all run rear number plates now, which I agree with. And the reason being is for races just like this, when you come through the checkpoint, if they don't catch your, and I notice you're good about saying your number, if they don't catch your number or your transponder doesn't work, they need to visually look at a number. And as you're pulling away, that's what they reference, your rear number plate, because it's usually the cleanest.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I think this is just the opinion, which I'm full of. I think we should all wear our name and number on the back jersey. We should all have graphics kits. We should all have a professional looking number somewhere on it, and they should all be uniform. There is actually a rule within NYOA for a colored background and the color number per your class.
Per your class.
Right. So, for example, us being technically 4x4A, we should have a red background, which Dustin and I do. And that's because I created Dustin and I's graphics and I played by the rules. Whereas some of the back classes, they should have a black background with white numbers. Yellow and green are the other options.
So the A riders would have the red.
The red, correct. And I can't remember if it's green or yellow or black. I think black is actually C class, but anyway, they have a rule and no one pays attention to it. And the reason I think it's an important thing to do is it makes us look legitimate. It makes us look official. We are an AMA sanctioned series and we are the second largest in the country when we're not a beer league series.
No, not at all.
You know, you and I ride the fall series here coming up in October, where you can show up in jeans and shit kickers and no graphics, no jersey. Who cares? I mean, it's a beer league. You don't have to have an AMA membership. You don't have to have any certification. You don't even have to have a tether on your quad. You can bring a four-wheeler right off the farm and go have fun. I call those series beer leagues, much like you would in a hockey arena, right?
Right.
We're a little bit more legit than that. You show up to a NYOA event, and there's thousands of people.
Gotta have your shit together.
They got a vendor row with food trucks and merchandise and everything else. It's not your mom and pop little racetrack. I mean, we're a big event. I think we should look the part, look professional.
I think it's a good idea too for just the aspect of when you're coming up on a rider or riders coming around you, so you know, hey, this is somebody you need to get out of the way of.
Right. It also helps you with class and identifying other guys.
We're talking here. We got a little bottleneck here. What happened?
Colton forgot how to steer, and then Dustin, he couldn't get out himself, but it gave me time to catch right back up to him. So I was pretty happy because there he is in the blue right in front of me, and actually tighten it up even more. And I think you're inching up on me. If my rear view shows up here, it's going to show you on it, because after you got done crawling around under the tree,
yeah,
you catch back up.
Yeah, I don't even want to say
there you
anything.
are. Yeah. And here's your view of following me. So yeah, we're pretty tight train. You can see Dustin right in front of me. He's got Colton right in front of him. You'll see the clips of the lights, glimpse of the lights of Colton's rear end. So there's 4 guys right here 30 minutes into this one, and we're still pretty bunched right up.
Still racing, yeah, absolutely.
That's great action because we don't always get that. We sometimes get, and we do get spread out by the end of this one. But aha, pass coming up. Oh boy, I don't like water sports. Oh, he sinks it. Anything to get around Drew Campbell.
Throttle out, throttle out.
Watch this replay. Watch the front end. Whoosh, right underwater. Oh,
there's a little bit of a hole there.
Yeah, everybody told us before the start of the race, don't go to the left. There's a hole there.
I didn't hear that memo.
You didn't get that memo.
No, I didn't get that memo.
You made your pass. Good job, but I'm taking it right back, and I'm going to use David Dunham as a pit maneuver if this was a basketball game.
Nice, nice.
Dave was in your lane and got it hung up in that tree, giving me the spot to sneak on by.
We do a little racing here.
Yeah, we had some fun. I mess up here, I go low, you go high, which I think gave you the little advantage. And, you know, I felt you come back up on me, which I could tell you were just quicker, so good for you, man. You were hauling ass.
You had a good run at this one. I mean, a couple things I could have cleaned up, but still was a fun day.
Yeah. Here I find this inside line. I'm gonna gain another position at the top of this hill on Dustin Carnes. Go up to 4th place here. Finally get into 4th, but you're gonna have to work your way past Dustin as well, and then back up to me. It's gonna take you through to the 2nd lap to do it, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was on the second
you
lap.
followed Dustin through the checkpoint on this one.
Yep.
And I put up your blurred vision just to remind you, since I knew you were gonna be on headset. There's your blurred shot to remind you to wipe it.
Wipe the camera.
Yeah. Guns absolutely ripping up this hill in 2nd place. I cut to each of us coming up the same hill, and we didn't quite have the speed he did. There were certain sections where he holds it and we don't. I let off like a sissy. I wanted to ask what shocks you're running though.
DeRisi did my shocks this year. They're triple rates.
What brand?
They're Fox.
The Fox. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm running the stock Fox ones that come with Can-Am. They've just been modified as well. I really want to switch to custom axis. I tried Dustin's at Smirnadilla, and those custom axis he has on his Renegade are amazing.
So that's an aftermarket brand?
Yeah, they don't normally come on the Renegade. You have to buy them separate. And Dustin bought that quad off of 4x4 Pro Robbie Picarori, who obviously had it set up for his speed and ability. And holy crap, the shocks were like, I could only describe it like a trophy truck. You could skim across things, and you didn't have to be going fast to skim across them, so you didn't feel them. It just, you never felt them. You never felt any bumps or anything. It was just very smooth ride, especially compared to mine, which is high mileage and older. And I put a beating on it, so I feel every bump. Go Kyle. His camera's clean. He might not be going fast enough to get it money belt.
His jersey didn't have any mud on it yet.
So I haven't told you this yet, and I haven't told anybody yet, but Kyle and I are in the works. We are going to be promoting a race this coming spring before the NYOA season kicks off, and it's going to be invite only. So be nice, and maybe Kyle and I will invite you. But we're going to do a race on his property down in Rushville, New York.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Kyle, I've never said anything bad about you.
I wasn't saying be nice to you. I was saying to the viewers, be nice. We've had a bunch of viewers ask, how do we get into the Smirnadilla event? Well, I explain it to everybody the same way.
That's the spot I was talking about.
That's a very high bump. I didn't understand that. It's an obstacle course, not a racetrack. Smirnadilla is an invite only. It's a friends thing. Like, you can't have, if you got, some property to play on, we can't have hundreds of people show up like NYOA.
Right.
So we invite our friends. And if you're a friend of a friend, that's great too, if you can work your way in that way. But I think that's what Kyle and I will do. We'll do a friends invite, hopefully 20, 25 guys maybe. Some 450s in there, I'm sure. But obviously all the 4x4 friends of ours will all be there if everybody can make it. And
very cool.
Yeah, we're gonna make it fun. I've got some ideas planned. I've never promoted a race, but I absolutely love this sport, in case you couldn't tell. I absolutely love racing, and I've got some ideas that's going to make it fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. You've got to change into a dress before you run to your four-wheeler. It's a cold engine start.
Cold engine start, but you have to change it into a dress.
Well, we're also doing a key party, so you got to find your correct key out of the fishbowl.
With like an Easter egg hunt?
Yup. Right? Just make all this dumb shit happen. By the end of the race, it doesn't come down to skill. It's like whoever had the best hand won.
Dumb luck.
Yeah. Oh, you really wanted to get Dustin right there, I could tell. You guys are almost wheel to wheel.
Yep.
We see Ray and Caleb Chilson off to the side there pointing the best line for you guys, which was far right. And apparently this section was horrible for the dirt bikes. I guess that's why we were late leaving the line, because the dirt bikes were stuck in that one section and they're pulling them out.
Wow.
And I heard from Mike Barone, because of the weather, they finally pulled out the last four-wheeler at 9 p.m. on Sunday evening.
9 p.m. on Sunday.
I've never heard of track crew having to get everyone off the track so late, but wow, that's bad. You know that some people were in there really, really stuck and broke down, and you can't hate on any of the track crew or the promoter. It's not their fault. They can't control the weather, and then their machines have to still get into the stuck machine and get both of those out. Sometimes the recovery machine was getting stuck.
Stuck in the process.
I mean, it's just a nightmare when dealing with mud. Fortunately, we have 4x4s. We didn't have too many issues.
I don't want to relive the experience, but we had to get towed out by a tractor just with our fifth wheel and truck.
Ah, so you were one of the campers that needed some assistance.
Big time.
Wow.
But they did a good job with it. Everyone was being safe and just trying to get the machine and the equipment out. So.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much standard at most of the NYOAs that have rain around the race. They'll have tractors on hand because if you've never come to one of our races, people will show up on a Friday and leave on a Sunday, so they camp. And most of them bring their entire house, including the kitchen sink. And these are big units. I think you've got a big camper. What's length of yours?
Yeah, we're 39 foot.
39. Dustin's 44. Chilson's are 44. I mean, these are big campers people are towing in there, and they get stuck. They're meant to go down the highway, not through a cow pasture.
We do it.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
Just pin it.
That's it. No, we love it. The family comes out, the kids come out, everybody enjoys it. It's just racing on a Sunday, man. It's nothing better than that.
Yeah, and I can't think of a better family activity to do.
It's great.
You said you have a kid in it as well?
Yeah, so our son Felix races in the Row 23, and he's first year doing it, and he's having a good time at it this year.
Awesome. We're watching Guns come through. He's our fastest camera running second because Rich Drave, 1 minute ahead of him at this point in the race. He's gone. We're not going to see Rich the entire race. So that was Guns coming through in second place. Your next guy is going to be Colton Harkness. You can see him just ahead of me there with those taillights glimmering off in the distance. And you got some wetness on the lens. It's starting to rain. Did you feel it?
We did get a little rain during
Yeah,
the
it actually felt kind of nice, I'm not going to lie. So I'm coming through the checkpoint. I was about, looks like half a minute behind. No, excuse me. Colton was a half a minute behind Guns. I'm 6 seconds behind Colton. And then next up is going to be Dustin Carnes and Justin Mills. And here we go, Dustin coming through. He's gonna call it, gives you the position, he's out. That was it for him. Like we talked about earlier, he had steering issues with that four-wheeler and didn't want to push the issue. He put it in his lap, called it a day.
Yeah, there's no sense in getting hurt.
No. But back across the road, because we did have to cross the road after we went through the checkpoint. Here we've got Guns coming out into that field section, and then we talked about earlier where people just kind of straightened out the S turns.
Yeah, it definitely got straightened out.
Yeah, make a right-hander and say,
straight across the
screw it. And you can see where all the dirt bikes had a beautiful S-turn going.
Yeah.
Probably took 10 seconds longer than us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What ribbon.
You didn't see it.
Gotta love this sport.
Yeah, we are definitely muddy by this time. The machine is covered right now.
I struggle with I run those, who makes them? Rocks. My hand gauntlet covers are made by Rocks, R-O-X. Mm-hmm. And they get real heavy and floppy with that sticky, heavy mud. I don't know any of those hand guards that are bulletproof.
There's not one out there.
Yeah.
Not in the stuff we were riding on Sunday.
I often thought about, though, just to redneck it up a little bit, maybe you could put like a milk jug or a detergent jug or something in there to hold the shape of it.
Give it form.
Right, that's it, right? And the whole point is, I mean, one of the mutters, it kept coming down, beeping my horn. If I had a horn on the thing, it would.
So you can use the ones that I use and put it on the inside, and then we use yours and put them over it.
You just have the front ones, right? So you.
No, I have a guard that goes over the permanent plastic ones. So there's a two-piece setup that you actually put on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a glimpse of it here.
So for the muddy setups, I put these extra pieces on in front of it.
Yeah. But that's just in front of it. That's protecting you from the roost.
It is. It's not catching anything from underneath, and definitely learned after this race that I have to have that in my thought when we have these.
You drifted wide there. You came so close to those campers. People, maybe don't set up on the outside of a turn because you got rookies like Justin Mills out there.
And no, rookie, first year at this.
Yeah, well, your rookie ass is pretty fast. You're crawling right up my butt, and I think you're going to get the pass right here. You go from 5th to 4th and bang a tree in the process. I don't think you hit it hard enough to hurt anything. I cut to my camera because I had a problem with it. I've never seen this in a race. I think what happened was, and I don't stand it long here, the light sensor on the GoPro that self-adjusts your exposure in the camera must have gotten covered with mud, and it did it at a point where I was in a field or something, because every time I'm in the woods, it's way too dark, underexposed. Every time I'm in a field, it's perfect, well lit, like you have your camera here. So I believe it was just a mud issue. I don't think my camera was malfunctioning, but there's got to be a light sensor on the GoPro, I know there is, that adjusts the exposure for you in auto.
So then your camera ended up doing that the rest of the race?
Yeah, which sucks because here you've got me in 4th, and I'm not done with you yet, buddy. I want one more shot at you. My camera's like this, all black, so I'm following you right now.
Oh, that's what we were talking about when we were texting on Sundays, about the fact that you didn't actually have that last pass in there.
Correct. You have it on your cameras.
Gotcha.
I don't have it on mine. And speaking of your cameras, your rear view is already gone, I believe. Justin's camera. Yeah, your rear view was pretty muddy. and I wasn't able to use it. Actually, your rear view died. That's right. Towards the end of lap 1, your rear view straight up died. Your battery ran out. Happens.
It does.
Impressively though, Guns, his rear view may have faced downward, but that lasts the entire race, and his front view as well. So we actually get Guns going through the finish, and he was the fastest camera in this race.
Lap 3, these ruts were getting deep.
Oh yeah, but I feel like they start to help you. If you look, Rich Drave's lap time, he actually picked it up on the 3rd lap, because I think once you get into those trenches, all you got to do is just hold it. You don't necessarily have to steer it. Just keep on the throttle, it'll go.
Hold it to the wood and just line it up.
Yeah, oh, those are rough right there. The roots is what people were warning us about before the race. Normally we get some, Guns sneaking through tight spots. Normally we get some inside scoop from some dirt bike friends or track workers, and everybody warned us about the slick roots out there. So here we are, look at the time. Guns came through like 10 minutes ago. Kyle on the 450 in 8th place. He's still plugging away.
Go Kyle.
Go Kyle, but let's listen in, because he feeds her the beans, so let's listen to this 450 wide open here. Just let her say, you better give her some brakes, buddy, you're going way too fast. Oh, missed the turn. It's great. Oh, and I don't know if he was trying to turn there or just wouldn't turn, but he's lucky he had an escape route.
Was that a Prius?
Yeah. Was it what?
Was it a Prius?
Yeah, Prius. You can see Barone there on the road signaling him to go, go, go. Jumping on board with you. Following, I think that's a female class rider, but you've got Colton right ahead of you going into this creek section. There's some good pictures taken under this tree right there.
You know, this was a good spot. This wasn't a bad creek crossing by any sort. I mean, it wasn't a 3-foot hole.
No. You found that one twice.
Twice.
Yeah. You used it to your advantage twice.
Twice.
Yeah. Aquaman. That's what we're gonna call you. Aquaman. I wish somebody had told you, because here's where I get you. Because maybe that isn't a woman's rider. It isn't. It's Barry. I can't remember Barry's first name, but the last name on the jersey is Barry. He holds you up there, and there goes Drew right on the inside.
I'm glad you can't hear my audio.
Oh, I can.
Oh.
We can hear you cursing me out right now. I'm just gonna talk over it so the little kids watching.
I was pissed.
Yeah, you were letting the obscenities fly. I thought it was great. Oh, and then I give you a big roost, and I went low, and I felt you back there, so didn't force the issue. I knew you were on a mission. Spot's yours, brother. You earned it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And you're not done yet. We're going to time travel ahead. You're going to see on the bottom of the screen, we went 17 minutes into the future. And Justin has caught Honaki. You must have been putting on the heat, brother.
We had a good run on Sunday. The machine definitely felt a lot better than it has in the last couple of races, and here we are in the water again.
Yeah, let's repeat it. It worked on Drew on lap 1. Let's do it to Guns on lap 2. and you find the same freaking hole. I have to slow-mo it again. It's just too good not to, because of the amount of water you push when you go through that section. Check this out. Just bury the front end. It sinks right in, like, oh my goodness. And he's like burying it too.
Yeah, no, we definitely both found water.
Yeah, you rob a lot of speed in those sections. I creep through them. I'm not quite sure what the 450s do through that section, if they blitz them or not, but I would think they'd want to go slow. And
well, going back to like a snowmobile, whenever we see water, I'm pinning it. So
yeah.
I'm thinking the same process on the quad.
Yeah.
Pin it.
Well, you're pinning it right up to Colton. That was a quick shot of you following number 2. So you've gone from 1st to 6th, back up to fighting for 2nd in this race. And here we see Guns telling Jeff Kowalski off to the side, I've broken axle and don't have 4x4. Yeah, so Guns broke his right front axle. He runs OEM axles, and it broke right at the knuckle, he said.
So then he's in like 3 wheels spinning? Like
It all depends what his visco lock, if it's in or removed. I'm not sure what his setup is. Great question. He may have been 3-wheel drive. Yeah.
I would hope in this race that you at least had one up front.
Yeah, all I know is that you're going to see on lap 3, as we follow Guns coming through the checkpoint the second time, here on lap 3, he's going to have a couple of issues where he's struggling in that two-wheel drive mode, but he
clipped that.
He clipped it. You see him bounce off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't steer. So kind of do the same thing Kyle did. Couldn't steer. He does a great job riding that machine in two-wheel drive.
It's not the first race he's had to do this in.
No. All right, we're gonna jump again here to 2 minutes. As you can see, my
It's
camera's
a little dark.
yeah, still having that issue, but as I pop out of the woods, it's the correct exposure again. That's why I think it got covered in the field. But I'm looking down there, I'm steaming, I'm overheating. This had all happened in the last minute or two. Limp mode came on, check engine light came on, and I was pissing coolant. So I don't know what went wrong. I hope I didn't break anything, but I gotta mess with my buddy Brad here at the checkpoint. Woo. Got him. Got him.
He wasn't liking that.
Oh, he told me to get the heck out of there. So we're gonna time travel 6 minutes into the future, and here's Guns again. He's finally caught back up to you. We're almost 90 minutes into this race. So I don't know if he picked up the pace or you slowed down. What's your take there?
Dan's a hell of a rider, so I'm going to say he picked up the pace knowing that he wanted that third spot.
Well, what happened here?
A tree.
You see there's ruts there to guide you around them.
Yeah, that didn't happen, and that pretty much shut me down the rest of the race.
Did it cause damage?
It looks like another fan radiator shroud, so...
So explain to us, we don't see you come through for lap 3. Where'd you go? What happened?
So for a while there, I pulled the machine off of the tree, started it back up, got it running, then she overheated, shut it down, let it cool off, and then basically just limped it off the track from there, because every 5-10 minutes after you're driving it, the fan's not moving, machine's overheating.
Yeah.
Instead of causing any major issues, just got it off the track.
Were you steaming like I was?
Yes.
So I wonder if it's just our overflows.
It's probably the overflow dripping down on something that's hot and just steaming up, because you could hear mine boiling.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yeah. Well, it's cooked. We flash forward again, 11 minutes. We're at 1 hour 37 into the race, and Guns' two-wheel drive coming over the jump. Have a listen.
Nice.
Ooh, he turns the bars because Bob Johnson's sitting there with the camera. He's like showboating, and that looked like such a rough touchdown.
Crossover.
Right, like, oh, and then he can't make that turn because of two-wheel drive. It's a mess for Guns, but a lot of credit to the man.
Oh, he's still got a nice, I mean, podium finish.
He got it to the podium. He took home some of that prize money. So good for him. But here he has some problems, and this is what I was talking about the other minute. Sport Quad, and he tells the guy he broke his chain. That's Cody Oates from a different class going by. The guy broke his chain, so Guns is forced to back down because now that guy's stuck. Oh. That Sport Quad can't go anywhere. Now listen to Guns try to get up this hill. He makes it, but does he have to dig for it?
Two-wheel drive in a machine that weighs almost 900 pounds.
At this point, he's over 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd say most of us start around 900 pounds. And after, we definitely have picked up 100 pounds of mud. The owner of B&R races 4x4 Pro. I don't know if you know Rob Smith. Have you heard of that name?
I have not.
He did a before and after weight comparison with a mudder, and he says you easily pick up over 100 pounds of mud on these Renegades.
That's insane.
Well, you think about the surface area. We've got a lot more surface area than a Sport Quad, so it can stick to.
And it just sits up in the chassis. It just literally just sits up in every little area. I mean, if you've cleaned one of these off after these races, you know it's not something that happens quickly.
Yeah, and here's the checkers for Guns, so the race is over. Only thing he has to do now is clean it. And it's going to take 3-4 hours. But you think the race is over, it's not. Look at the time, 1 hour, 58 minutes, and we're going to say 5 seconds. And he pulls up to the checkpoint. He's not through. You haven't heard the beat. He's not through. Sport Quad in front of him, trying to push, not going anywhere. Guy sandwiched between them, ram me, push both of us, going nowhere. He still hasn't beat. Brad telling everybody behind Guns, wait a minute, we got a jam up. This is at the finish.
Wow.
I'll save you the suspense. 45 seconds he lost on this lap. But there's your race. Guns is our fastest camera, and honestly, our only camera to survive this mutter and get to the finish. Rich Drave was your winner. Coming in second, Colton Harkness, who was 5 minutes and 31 seconds behind at the finish. Guns got third, who was almost 3 minutes behind Colton. Jesse Madison got fourth, who was 18 and a half minutes behind third place. So very spread out, a 27-minute gap between your top four. And we only had 4 quads on the lead lap for this one. Justin Mills does get 5th, Drew Campbell in 6th, Kyle Lawrence 7th, Dustin Carnes in 8th. We'll finish out your 4x4 race. This was a fun one. We've got one more to go. And at the next race, we've got even more prize money to give away, $300 for the final round. So be sure to tune into that one. This one was sponsored by HERC Contracting. Sorry to screw that one up.
It's all good.
And QUADTECH. QUADTECH is managed by Hunter Hart, so he's throwing in $100 for this one, as well as Justin. So I didn't explain it yet, but here's what you guys got to do to win. I made you wait all the way to the end. List every sponsor, including the 2 in this show, in the comments section of this video if you want to win. And I will draw a winner at random for everybody who answered every sponsor from all 9 episodes of Between the Trees. In the comment section below, you will be correctly entered to win the $200, and we'll do a live drawing next week. Justin, appreciate you coming in, bro.
Drew, it was awesome, man. Just want to give a quick shout out to everybody at home. Appreciate all the help for everything you guys do, and Drew, it's been fun.
Awesome. Looking forward to another battle at round 10. This was Between the Trees. We'll see you guys at the races.